the campaign which is going to erupt on the Mornington Peninsula over the building of a quarry, the expansion of a quarry at Arthur's Seat. It's before Rosebud, and it's around Dramana area where you'd be driving in, and the argument is whether you'd actually see it from the road. There are differing views on this, of course. The Ross Trust, which runs Hillview Quarries, is a philanthropic organisation, and a pretty good one over the years too. But they want to expand the area, expand the quarry, and make it a fair deal bigger. Now, there's an open letter which will be published in The Age tomorrow from a pretty impressive list of people. Brian McNamee, chair of CSL, Bob Brown, former leader of the Greens Party, the Fred Skepsey, the film director Stephen Curry, the actor, a lot of even a couple of the Baileys are in there as well. Mark Fancett is on the line. He runs the Peninsula Preservation Group, leading the community campaign. Mark Fancett, good morning.
Good morning, Neil.
Why should we care?
Look, I think we really need to care because we've lost so much of our natural environments, and the peninsula especially, there's huge pressures on the peninsula. We've lost 80% of our natural vegetation, and here we've got this company wanting to put in a massive industrial complex on the side of Arthur's Seat and clear a massive amount of our bush.
Would it be visible from the road? Would it be visible? Sorry, Scan.
Most definitely, Neil. It's up to 94 acres of bush being cleared, so there's no way you can hide a massive industrial complex. This is not just a little old quarry like they used to make. This is large-scale development.
So if I'm driving along, heading towards Dramana and Rosebud, when would I see it in your view, and particularly in relation to the Eagles chairlift?
Yeah, I think you'd see it just out of Mornington, but certainly as you drive past the drive-in and you look straight towards Arthur's Seat, you'd see a massive scar there on the hill, massive white scar on the hill. And not just us, it would be our children and our grandchildren that would be seeing this scar.
We have to quarry stuff, don't we? And I'm sure that the quarry that's operating there already has an enormous amount of stone already scattered around various jobs around the Mornington Peninsula.
Oh, yeah, look, we don't dispute the fact that we need granite. I've got granite in my driveway and probably in my house foundations as well, but granite's not a rare resource, and we've got huge reserves of granite, and we don't require forests being cut down. We've got granite in areas that don't require this sort of environmental damage.
Well, apart from, I know you said it affects animals, it affects vegetation, etc., but way you describe it, would it significantly affect the sort of ambience of the entrance to the peninsula?
Oh, it would. I think that the sheer size of this is what's scandalous. If the people that are sitting at the MCG tonight, if you look around that MCG, it's going to be up to 21 times the size of the MCG Stadium, and the depth of it is going to be up to 2.5 times the height of those light towers. So something like that, it's going to be a massive visible scar that all the residents and all the tourists, the hundreds of thousands of tourists that come to this area, are going to see for generations. There's no way that could be hidden.
Yeah, I've asked the Quarry or Hillview and Ross Trust for their response. As yet it hasn't come, but I believe they are saying, it's not going to be that bad, it's just an expansion, it's not going to be that noticeable.
Yeah. Now, they're going through the environmental effects statement process at the moment, and it generally results with that is that most of these proposals get approved, a huge success rate of being approved, with a few tweaks around it.
Well, you cop the tweaks. You cop a quarry with tweaks.
And it might be only 60 acres. I mean, 60-acre pit is still a massive pit, and it's still going to require almost 50 acres of bush to be bulldozed on Arthur's Seat. So we're saying a quarry of any size is not acceptable. And once you've got a small quarry, it's very easy to get an extension of a quarry.
How long's this been in the pipeline? Because there was a debate going on down there before, wasn't there, about landfill or something? How long has this particular quarry been in the pipeline?
That's right. So this is a little quarry that was closed in 1988 and was purchased by the Ross Trust. In 2013, that's to make an enormous rubbish tip and import rubbish from Melbourne and fill that up. We fought that campaign and defeated them on that. So they've been looking at what ways to make money out of this site for a long time.
The Ross Trust, it is a philanthropic organisation, though.
Yeah, definitely. And for 50 years now, they've been giving approximately $4 million a year to a variety of groups around Victoria. Certainly, we don't dispute that, but doing that doesn't give them the right to do environmental vandalism.
They have been giving money to environmental organisations too, have they not?
Yes, and that's the hypocrisy of it, that they were set up initially in the 1970s to protect the environment, and they justify their action because they're doing so much good. They're giving to a large number of environmental groups, but what we're finding now is that these groups are now saying, well, no, that's not good enough. Times have changed, and we're not going to stand for this.
Well, I've heard some of the bigger organisations might, in fact, refuse money from them. Is that correct?
That is correct. We've had a number of groups. We've had the Australian Conservation Foundation, which is the environmental group in Australia, Mental Justice Australia, and the Knox Environment Society have all refused funding, and indeed the Knox Environmental Society have actually returned that money to the trust.
How much, do you know?
Yeah, they've returned $40,000. So for an environmental group, it's very hard to get philanthropic donations to the environment. To actually give that back, that's a really powerful stand that they're making.
But it puzzles me here that the trust would be donating money to environmental causes, but at the same time committing what you would say is an environmental atrocity. They must think it's all right, do they?
Well, it's hypocritical. It really is astounding that they think that they can justify destroying the environment by giving to the environment. It's incredible. They're a mining company, and they're looking at just ripping out the rock so that they can protect the environment.
All right, where do you go from here? You've got an advertisement in the paper today. You've got some very big Victorian names in there, including Brian McNamee, as I said, and Fred Skepsey and others. The Vizard brothers. Where do you go from here?
Yeah, it's a really diverse coalition, and to have such a group from the arts, from business, from academia, from conservation groups, and then some of these are very private people as well, willing to stand up. We think that's a really good start. We want the actual wider Melbourne community to actually stand up as well and tell our politicians that we're just not going to stand for this anymore. So we have our savearthursseat.com website. There's more detailed information on that. We have a petition. We have over 40,000 people that have signed that. And I just encourage people to come down and have a look at this site and see what's going to be lost, because if we don't all stand up, we are going to lose this, and it will be too late.
So you think there's a real chance you can go ahead?
Oh, most definitely. And that's, the environmental effects laws. This company, the Ross Trust, is taking advantage of this, and we want to call out those trustees who are taking advantage of these laws. These laws actually have a huge success rate. It's approximately 98% of these proposals actually get passed in some form. So it will go ahead unless the community stands up and takes action.
Oh, just fun. I was having a look at some of the trustees. Some of them have actually got background in planning, though, haven't they?
Yes, it was quite convenient for the trust. Prue Digby joined the trust in 2018, and she was the former State Department head of planning under Richard Wynne. So
she's entitled to do that, but she no doubt is giving them advice, which would be a role as a board member. Okay, well look, we'll keep in touch. Thank you very much for your time, Mark Fancett, Peninsula Preservation Group. I think that'll develop into quite an issue, and one of the reasons is this list of names I keep telling you about. The former head of Parks Victoria, Jeff Floyd, now adjunct professor Steve Vizard, Bob Brown, well, you'd expect him to be lined up, Brian McNamee from CSL, several Baileys, Fred Skepsey, Stephen Curry. There's a very high-profile, well-known lot there. If they're fair income, they're not just signing a letter, if they're putting some weight behind this, it's going to be one hell of a fight. I repeat, I have offered the Ross Trust the right to reply, as yet no response.